Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. Hey guys, have you heard about the Haven app from the guys over at Open Bazaar? Download Haven now for iOS and Android. Go to gethaven.app. Haven is the world's first privacy-focused shopping application for iOS and Android devices. Why use apps that spy on you? Shop, chat, and send cryptocurrencies privately using Haven. Haven gives you a shopping marketplace, social posts, private chat, and a powerful cryptocurrency multi-wallet all in one mobile app. Download Haven now for iOS and Android. Go to gethaven.app/Tatiana for $5 off. This episode of The Tatiana Show is brought to you by Vaultoro. Vaultoro is a gold hedging solution for the crypto community. One of the challenges of investing in cryptocurrencies is dealing with volatility. Keeping a diversified portfolio is a key to healthy returns. I keep about 10% of my crypto assets in gold using Vaultoro. Vaultoro allows me to open a gold wallet in seconds where I can easily trade with cryptos and gold. What I like about using Vaultoro instead of Tether is that the gold in my Vaultoro wallet is insured, audited, vaulted in Switzerland, and unlike fiat money, gold has increased in value for the last 20 years. Visit vaultoro.gold/Tatiana today and get zero trading fees for the first 3 months. That is vault, like a gold vault, and oro, which is Spanish for gold. Vaultoro, ole! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. I always feel like I open this announcement of the show with the indication that this will be a special show. And every show is sort of special. But this one is extra special because Josh, my wonderful co-host, has been working really hard at Vaultoro, and they've hit these new milestones. So instead of having somebody else on the show, we're going to start with our roots, which the way that me and Josh, we first met was I interviewed him on the Tatiana Show, and he was very late, and I was very unhappy about it. But then afterward, we talked for a couple hours. Even after the interview, we became fast friends. And today I wanted to, give him a chance to tell you guys about all the new stuff that's happening, but also to give you guys a chance to see the man behind the curtain and what exactly inspired this company in the first place. There's a lot of people looking to get into the gold and crypto space right now, but I always feel like you guys are such a trusted name because you've been in the industry for so long, and you guys have done a wonderful job over there. So thank you, Josh, for joining me once again on the Tatiana Show, this time as a featured guest.
It is an absolute pleasure, Tatiana. And, it seems like only yesterday when we met, but really we met such a long time ago. And in crypto time, it's eons.
Crypto time does move differently than others.
Yeah.
But why don't we open this up with just tell me a little bit about what made you get into crypto in the first place? What gave you an interest in economics? And a little bit of the company history as well as your personal motivation.
Oh, yeah, sure. So, once upon a time, it all started with it actually happened with 9/11. I started, it was such a shock to the system for everybody. And I wanted to know more about the money. Everyone always said, follow the money when crimes happen. So I started delving into the money. And I always had a fascination with alternative economies as well. But what I started to fear was that there was a lot more behind the whole 9/11 stuff than meets the eye. And I discovered, the whole banking system and how corrupt it is at its core, and that all money is made of debt instead of assets. And I realized, man, no one knows what money really is. But just before that, I had launched a service called SwapStyle, where women could swap clothes instead of buying and selling. So if you had a really beautiful cardigan and someone else had a nice pair of jeggings that you might like, then you could ask her, hey, I really like your jeggings. Do you like anything from me? And the other person was like, oh, yeah, I really like that cardigan. And then you swap. But there's multiple problems with swapping. And the biggest one was that if you don't like anything of the other person, then that deal falls through. And the other person can't have your thing because you don't like anything they have. So, and the other thing is, if you like something they have, but it's worth way less or way more than what they have, then that's also a problem. So it's not a very good way to trade. And so I started looking for back in 2000 for a token or I didn't call it a token back then, it was a credit or some sort of money, digital money that I could put into the system. But of course, then I realized that I would just be a central banker again, and because I would create the tokens on my server and they would be, spread around the people using it, or people would buy these internal tokens. And I didn't like that. So I then discovered what the teams in over here in Europe, in Amsterdam, and with eCash and all what the cypherpunks were also up to. I stumbled across their workings, and I really just thought, well, digital money, the whole double spend problem. That's when the first time I really discovered the double spend problem. It was sort of unsolvable at the time, and then I just put it away. And then, of course, September 11th happened, and it ended up being reinvigorating the interest in the whole alternative currency space. And then, so I was always keeping the ear to the train track, if you will, about digital money. And in late 2010, like around about December-ish or somewhere around there, November, December, the Bitcoin white paper came across my table, and I thought, wow, she's done it. This is amazing. And then I've been falling down that rabbit hole ever since. Yeah.
So then, what made you decide to go into gold and Bitcoin? And were you the first person in that space? What were some of the projects that were coming out at the same time? Did you learn anything from anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why gold, I was a big fan of gold and silver, and Max Kaiser before crypto was always going on about break JP Morgan, buy silver, and there was all these wacky campaigns to basically get out of the fiat system. And so I was a big gold bug already, and then discovered crypto and played with it a little bit, and then I lost a lot of money in the Mt. Gox collapse. That was the first exchange that ever existed, and it got hacked, or it was internally hacked, or no one really knows. That's still going on. But the problem was that the fiat, when nobody really knows this, when you have fiat in the bank account, Tatiana, it's not your money anymore. It's actually owned by the bank. And that's the same with exchanges. If you have money on an exchange, it's owned by them in that time. It's on their books as a debt. And so if that exchange goes broke, or if the bank goes broke that's holding the money, then liquidators come in and just start chewing away at all the creditors' money, all the people that have money on that system. It basically belongs to the liquidators. So I thought, well, what can we do to get away from, if this happens ever again? Because it really frustrated me that not only that I lost a lot of money, but that it was sort of slowing down this revolution in finance, because we'd get headlines like Bitcoin was hacked. This was before all the days, and you remember these times, Tatiana, and before the days that the media really understood what Bitcoin was, and they would say the CEO of Bitcoin, meaning Mark Karpelès from Mt. Gox, which of course it wasn't. Lost all this money, or Bitcoin is broken, and really it was just the exchange that was broken. But anyway, we thought, let's build an exchange that was truly transparent, so anybody could audit it at any time. And we developed the Glass Books protocol, my brother and I. And then we thought, well, no exchange is really listening to us because they don't want to be transparent, I guess. So we then thought, let's start our own exchange, and instead of having fiat, let's have allocated gold that's fully insured and fully audited, because gold is a very old commodity, thousands of years old. People can buy it, people can insure it, and it sits in a high security vaulting facilities, and it can be, and it's very liquid too. It means someone else is always willing to buy it, and so the good thing with that is, if anything happened to Vaultoro, it didn't matter. Our client's gold is sitting in their name as their property. It's off of Vaultoro's balance sheet, and it's fully audited by BDO, and they come in and count the stuff. There's no bank there, because banks are very intransparent as well. So if an exchange deals with fiat, if the bank goes broke, then that's really sucks as well. And things like Tether, now that we have stable coins like Tether, they have 2.8 billion floating, apparently sitting in a bank. They sort of did an audit, but basically an auditor just said, oh yeah, apparently they've got that in the bank. But we don't know what the bank is doing with that. They're speculating with those funds all over the place. So you got the banks speculating with the underlying funds that Tether's going. And so it's a big nightmare. And I'm kind of ranting here, but the whole point was use gold because it can be fully insured, fully audited and counted properly. There's very established auditing procedures behind gold bullion. And then be able to trade that back and forth in Bitcoin very, very quickly. So if you want to take some profits off the table, you can buy gold bullion. And if you then want to jump back into crypto, you can easily sell it back for crypto. And that's what we built with Vaultoro.
How long have you guys been around, and what's going on the horizon right now? Because you're doing a few different things. And what sort of led up to that, and why have you decided to go in this direction?
Well, we launched in, I think, February 2015. And we launched with one single pair, Bitcoin physical gold. So people were trading that, and our hope was that a price discovery system would come for Bitcoin that's outside of fiat. That means that, because everything's priced in fiat, we all got into crypto to get away from fiat, yet we price everything in fiat, including crypto. So it's like, how much is Bitcoin worth today? And it's always in a US dollar form. And so we really wanted to get to a point where, hey, let's price Bitcoin in grams of gold. And so that's what we did. We launched Bitcoin physical gold pair, and that we've got 90 clients from 95 countries around the world. We've got over 25,000 customers, and we've traded over 100 and just over 100 million euros worth of gold at the moment. Yeah.
So what is the benefit of the token now to people who are using it?
Yeah, for a long time, I didn't get into the whole tokenizing thing because I thought, well, there's no point. This whole blockchain nonsense and tokenizing gold, what's the point? You can use Bitcoin to move money. And then if you want to go stable, you just jump on a Vaultoro and buy gold. But as a company, I realized that we could not only sell gold on our platform, we could sell gold on Kraken as well. And we talked to Kraken, but it would be very, very hard to share order books and deal with just our internal database. So that's when we thought, well, if we tokenized the gold, it would make it a lot easier, because then we could sell it on Kraken, we could sell it on Binance, we could sell it in multiple places, and become the world's largest gold retailer in the world, and be fully transparent and bring all the great stuff that blockchain brings to the table, instead of just a single website that allows people to trade in and out of gold. So people like Binance, like Gold Money or Bullion Vault, they're one single website, one portal, but and they're holding about 2 billion under management each of gold for their clients. Now imagine if you could sell gold on multiple websites and marketplaces all around the world, and tokenizing it really makes that easy. And so we really wanted to do that for our investors to make sure that we do become the largest gold retailer in the world, and that's part of the big plan. And and that's why we're also doing the Bnk To The Future crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding thing right now.
So what does the Bnk To The Future crowdfund look like?
Well, basically, Bnk To The Future is a equity crowdfunding platform. That means that people, a lot like Kickstarter. People go and just donate money to projects that they like. And sometimes it makes you feel warm and fuzzy, like, I really like that project, I want to fund it and get maybe the first release of it. But it's bitten some people in the bum. So for instance, when Oculus Rift first launched on Kickstarter, that's how they first came about, because no one was interested in VR. They raised, I think, $1 million or something like that. And then after multiple, maybe 3 years or something, they sold to Microsoft for billions. Facebook, sorry. Was it Facebook? I think it was Facebook, for billions. And those initial investors didn't see any of that profit, and they were the backers. They were the people that really helped back the project. And that's really unfortunate. So equity crowdfunding is very different. You go into the platform and you buy equity as a crowd. and it's really good for the company, because it allows the company to have many people that are interested in the success of the company, so that they all go out and promote your company and help it succeed. And Bank to the Future is very reputable. They've been around for many years. It's run by Simon Dixon, a well-known name in the industry, and we've had him on the show, I think.
Yeah, we've had several interviews actually with him over the years. So yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. They definitely know what they're doing over there. So
yeah,
that's good.
yeah. And a nice guy. And the other thing was that that they've crowdfunded for Kraken, for BitPay, I think even Coinbase. Shapeshift, all the big names have used them, so they're very reputable. And so we decided, well, let's jump on Bank to the Future, and yeah, start this crowdfunding. And that you can go there today. It's Tuesday today, and we're starting the big campaign today. So that's really exciting.
So once the campaign wraps up, what can people expect in the future?
So what we're also launching at the same time is Vaultoro 2.0. And this is the first iteration outside of the single pair Vaultoro that we've had for the last 4 years, almost 5 years, is that it was only Bitcoin and gold. And that's where we sold the 100 million, or traded 100 million euros worth of gold and Bitcoin. So once we have multiple pairs, it allows for a lot more things, arbitrage opportunities between different cryptos and different and gold, and allow people to really have a lot more options when trading. We also have a beautiful revamped interface, and the good thing with Vaultoro 2.0, or the investment on Bank to the Future, is that you're investing in Vaultoro Group, and Vaultoro Group has not only got the exchange, and if you ask anyone what is the most profitable sector of the crypto industry, it is exchanges and stable coins. They're the two major things. Oh, and conferences. That's my joke. But the main thing is exchanges and stable coins. So Vaultoro Group has both of those. They have the exchange, and they have VGold, which will be the tokenized version of gold. But we've also got a OTC market called Bar9, and we're working with banks to use the API in traditional banks to allow banking partners to buy gold all around the world. We're in Africa, in some of the Middle East countries as well, and this is really, really big for our investors as well. And it's something we should talk more about. It's something not many people know. It's a sort of a side arm of Vaultoro, but it's also what people are investing in terms of investing in the group.
What kind of token are you guys making, and how did you decide on the tech?
Yeah, that's been a tricky one, because I have friends in all these. We've been around for a while. We've interviewed everyone, and so it was very tricky to come up with the right tech. And what we ended up thinking is, look, I really like the Lightning Network. I think it's fantastic technology. It's wonderful when you can see it being used. And if you bypass all the FUD and all the nonsense, it's basically smart contracts talking to each other on top of the Bitcoin network, and it's really fast and secure. So we want to build VGold on top of the Lightning Network using the RGB protocol, which was Giacomo Zucco and I've forgotten his name right now, slipped me, but I'm sorry. And their little baby, to build non-fungible tokens on top of Bitcoin's Lightning Network. So we're going to do that, but we're also going to be doing it on ERC20 on Ethereum, because everyone accepts Ethereum. It's very easy to integrate to wallets, because wallets have all integrated ERC20 standards. So we're going to do that, and we're also looking at maybe even EOS, and allow them to also have the ability to have a solid, allocated, insured, and audited Boolean token that they can insert into smart contracts. So we look at ourselves as a multi-chain system, and we're going to put resources towards those three technologies to start with, and then maybe even more moving down the line.
How does the accounting work with that, though? Because let's say you have, I don't know, $100 million or whatever in gold that you have under management, and then you put it all in one token. Okay, that makes sense. But now if you're going to have different representations under different chains, who's going to keep track of that? Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't you have
Yeah,
to increase the amount of gold that you hold in the first place?
yeah, definitely. So our Glassbox protocol, which is our transparency protocol, will make sure that we can't go, we always have to be above reserve, because someone will be able to easily look on the website and figure out that we're not. And so what you do is we buy new gold when we want to supply more gold into the marketplace. So let's say we do some on Ethereum, we would have a pool, an allocation pool, just for Ethereum, and then just for Lightning Network, and just for EOS. So that way we have the accounting is totally sorted. And if the thing is with these tokens, you've got a lot of people don't really understand it, Tatiana. Like, what is a token? How can you represent it? And basically, if you buy gold in the old school world, you'll get a PDF with the bar number, with the insurance company and with the auditing company on it, and where it's vaulted. And this PDF has all that information about the gold you're holding. The problem is, if I send you that PDF, you don't know that I don't have a copy of it anymore. So we can't use it as money. I can't just send you that PDF and now Tatiana owns it. So let's take all that information and just stick it into a token, that when I send you that token, I don't have it anymore. And that way it makes it tradable and followable and accountable and all that good stuff.
Can I ask you a question? Something that's never been completely clear to me is people have a lot of skepticism with gold because I guess there's a whole paper representation of it that is sort of sketchy. What's the difference there? And can you explain what has gone on with the gold markets that have made them, I guess, susceptible to manipulation? And essentially, you can't cash out those pieces of paper if something goes completely wrong. For example.
It's a really good point. So there's the difference in what we're doing is spot gold, physical spot gold. There's no strange instrument or some weird financial jiggery pokery. You're basically buying a bar of metal that sits in a vault. It's very simple. The thing is that the banks, like Deutsche Bank, for instance, they have the gold ETF in Europe. And that is an instrument, a paper instrument, which is meant to hold gold in the background, but it's not really. Because it's an instrument, it's a derivative. It's derived from gold, so it's derived from the price of gold. Then they can speculate with it, they can short and they can long, and they can do all this amazing financial trickery with it. And we had this case about 2 years ago where a very large holder of the Deutsche Bank gold ETF wanted to get physical delivery. So when you buy an ETF, you're buying gold or promises on a gold. And this is very different. It's a promise on some gold, and that with delivery options. So this large holder worth millions and millions wanted physical delivery, and Deutsche Bank said no. And that sent shockwaves through the entire ETF industry, because they said, Deutsche Bank doesn't have all the gold. So this is very, very different to what we're doing, which is you're having what's called allocated gold. It's allocated bullion in your name as your legal property off of our books. And so we're not allowed to speculate with it. We can't speculate with it. It's your property. It's like me speculating with your house because I sold you the house. It's something that's just not available to us as an option. So it's a much different game, and you can get physical delivery of the gold if you want, because it's just sitting there. We weren't set up for that. It's not our main business to deliver people the gold, so it is fairly expensive to do that through us like that. In smaller amounts, we can do it. It is your gold. You can have it delivered to home to cuddle, but we recommend not to, because it's quite dangerous to hold gold at home, and you can see that in the insurance costs. If you try to get insurance for gold held at home, it's almost it's very hard to get insurance, because no insurer will do it because they know the risks. But if you can do it, it's very, very expensive. Whereas insurance in a high security, top tier vaulting facility in Switzerland, fully audited, is really, really cheap, because they know unless you've got the Ocean's 12 team, it's almost impossible to get into that.
Wow, that's quite interesting. Cool. So do you guys find a lot of traffic coming in from other countries? Originally one of the cool things about Vaultoro is it makes the ability to hold gold available to people in really remote areas. Do you see any traffic coming from, for example, Africa or, Latin America? They have a great interest, obviously, Spanish for gold. Oro. Um, so where's all your traffic coming from over the years, and where do you see it coming from in the future? Is it just people like that gamble with gold, like a lot of the trading volume, or do you think it's people saving?
No, it's both. We have a lot of savers, but we also have some merchants, and these are merchants that are unbanked and they accept cryptocurrency, but they can't afford the volatility. Maybe they sell whatever they sell, their doodad for Bitcoin, and all of a sudden Bitcoin price drops, and then they need to rebuy more doodads to sell them. They can't, and so what they do is they accept Bitcoin, they convert it to gold, instantly, and then when they want to restock, they convert it back to Bitcoin, and hopefully they've convinced their restockist or their supplier to also accept Bitcoin, and so we do have these merchants, and there we've got some clients from Venezuela, from Myanmar. We have really small little countries, but we've also got, of course, clients in bigger countries all around the world. And it's so, it's one of those things, Tatiana, where I think, man, this really makes it worth it, because I think these people, they save their entire life and they have to trust this sketchy banking system that's totally intransparent. Like, we don't know when it's going to collapse. It's like, you work your whole life, and all of a sudden the banks just decide that they over leveraged and they're broke now and it's gone, and that's terrible, right? So it really warms my heart when I think, wow, I'm loving the fact that people can start trading outside of the banking system and save outside of the banking system in a liquid asset. And so this is, I gave a talk in Cyprus about 2 years ago, and there was this little old lady who I was talking to, and she said, Josh, I saved my entire life. I worked my entire life really hard, and I finally saved up enough money to buy this apartment that I had. And I lived in it for 20 years and paid off the mortgage, and that house was my retirement fund. And then I was ready to retire and ready to move to a retirement home. And she didn't have any children, and she sold the house, the apartment, and put the money in the bank. And it was sitting there for about a month. And then on Friday it was there, and on Monday it was all gone. I'm talking every cent. Her bank account said zero, and she couldn't contact the banks. All the banks were closed in Cyprus, and this was not just her. I said, "What, was this just you?" No, it was everyone. And I said, "Well, I thought insurance covered it." She said, "Yeah, insurance did. After a week, there was $100K put back into my account, or after a few months or something. I'm not sure what it was, but that was it." But she had over 1.5 million saved. That was what she had, or something like that, ready
Holy
for
smokes.
for her retirement. All that gone, and the only thing left was $100K. And a lot of people. I remember when the Cyprus thing happened, and I remember, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's all, we're sucked in for the rich," because it's for the people over $1 million lose everything. And I thought, man, that's a lot of very old people that work their life have saved $1 million. It's not that, in the 80s we thought, wow, a millionaire, that's a lot of money, but it's not anymore. It's an amount that you can live on for maybe 15 years nowadays, if that. And it's very scary, because these older people cannot re-earn what they've saved, not like young people. So allowing them to have an option to save in something physical, in gold that's there. It's not speculated with. It's just a bar of gold, and it's held its value for over 3,000 years. It's indestructible. It can't, even if you throw it in the ocean, it doesn't rust. It doesn't do anything like that. So it's a really good store of value, and crypto is a very, very good means of spending.
Transferring it.
Yeah.
I'm into it. Very cool. So, all right. Say I'm a person that's listening to the show. I'm like, oh, this seems cool. I need to take some of my funds, maybe diversify, put it into something a little bit more secure.
Yeah.
What do they do? How do they do this? What do they
Well,
need? Kind of like, what kind of ID is it? And also, are there any places where you're not allowed to use Vaultoro? You were saying that they use it in Myanmar or whatever. Do you guys have to have a certain kind of business license in order to operate there? How does that work?
No, I mean, the thing is, gold is a physical good. It's like a television, like a couch, like anything else. It's not considered money in most countries. And so we are trading goods for goods. Bitcoin is a good in certain countries, and we do ask our clients, because we can't keep up with every different wacky country that and their regulations, to check for themselves what the laws are for them to hold to trade. Like it's legal in pretty much all countries except for the ones that we block. And the ones that we block is purely because of ridiculous government nonsense, economic wars, basically. So we're talking Cyprus, Iran, and New York.
Yes.
Funnily enough, yes.
Are you still kind of going against the bit license? Is that still a thing? Business? I think a lot of people are still doing that. What do you think is the future of that?
Yeah, I mean, when Eric Voorhees from Shapeshift, he, we were one of their first partners back in the day, and he created this thing about saving people's privacy, and we signed up to that. And I'm very much, against this whole nonsense of KYC. I think it's a ridiculous system. We have to do it because it's your gold and your property. So we need to know who it belongs to, because if that person dies, then we need the estate's management needs to prove that that gold belonged to the deceased, or if someone loses their access or their two-factor, we need to be able to prove, okay, that was you, that was your account. So that's why we do take KYC. But I think it needs to be revamped. It's a silly system, because if someone loses their ID, if a company gets hacked and all their, there was this massive hack in America about a year ago, where millions and millions of people's passport and pictures and their ID and their bank records and all that got stolen. Now, once that gets stolen, there's no way to get it back, right? It's gone. And it can be sold. People can open bank accounts in your name, you take out a whole lot of money, put you in a black hole. You need to then prove it wasn't you. That takes about 3-4 years. And it actually happened to a friend of mine. It's not funny. It's terrible. So I'm sorry that I laughed, but I just laugh how ridiculous it is, because this person lost his ID. Somehow it was stolen from some service. And they opened up, the thieves opened up some bank accounts in his name, stole a lot of money, and then he had a bad credit rating. He worked for about 6 years to get his name in the white again, and he finally did. He could now take, and in that time you can't take out mobile phone contracts, you can't take out any credit lines, nothing, because you've got this big black mark on your name. On your credit rating. So it took 6 years for him to get that clear. And you know what happened, Tatiana? I think it was like a year and a half after he cleared his name, because his ID was already floating around out there being sold. It got stolen again. It got used again. And it all happened again. So once your
ID
is
6 years?
Well, I haven't asked him, but yeah, once it's gone, it's gone. The poor guy. I mean, I can't think of a more unlucky thing, but this happens all the time. Like it happens all the time. People get their ID stolen, and people, these thieves take out loans in their name. So this whole system, this whole KYC system needs to change. We need to somehow have a digital avatar, a digital Josh that that has a credit rating. And if that ID gets stolen, then I just turn it off. I turn it off and I say, that's now gone, and I start a new digital identity. But it has to be one separated from me, the flesh and blood me, because the flesh and blood me, once that's stolen, I can't delete myself. I can't delete me, right? And start again. So I think as we move forward as a society, we're going to have to rethink this entire KYC nonsense. And saying that, saying that at Vaultoro, we have to do it. So we double salt everything. It's absolute top encryption. We're talking military grade encryption to everything. We try to have zero trust. There's also quite good privacy laws in the EU that we have to follow with GDPR, so that we're not allowed to pass any of that information on, and we don't anyway, even if we were allowed to. So that stuff is purely there so that if you do lose your keys to get in, or your two-factor, then we can authenticate you again, and that's useful. But it would be good to rethink KYC, that's for sure.
Well, I don't know anything about KYC stuff other than I don't know. It's a pain in the butt to work with. So anywho, yeah, I don't know. Identity theft. I had my SIM stolen a while ago, like earlier this year.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
And you know what? I just listened to the Permanent Record, Edward Snowden book. I just listened to the audiobook. That was quite interesting. So yeah, I'm not really sure where the incentive is to provide better access to encryption and identification becoming more encrypted. I don't know. Just not really.
I mean, the incentive is exactly what I talked about. Once your ID is gone, it's gone. I mean, your SIM card, right? That's what I was talking about. It's one step removed from you as a person. That got stolen, but you could reorder that SIM card and turn that one off that got stolen, right? And this is impossible with your ID. If your biometrics, your picture, your photo, your thumbprint, whatever gets stolen and it's floating around the internet, there's no way to get that back. There's no way to turn that off. It's gone, and it can be resold over and over again and pop up over and over again. So that's terrifying. But yeah, that book, by the way, is fantastic. It's a bit dry, but it's very good.
Did you finish it? He's very impassioned at the end. There's a lot of romance at the end.
I haven't quite finished it yet, to tell the truth, but I am very, very.
I wish I could
jumping back onto it.
I want to get him onto Proof of Love.
Wouldn't that be cool, man? I mean, he was in a relationship when all this went down, and he left his beloved in the US.
They're married now, though.
Are they? Right.
Yeah. Well, I guess you haven't gotten to the end of the book. Anyway,
no, I haven't gotten.
Spoiler alert!
It's an exciting time, and I think this whole digital currency space is growing. It's really cool to see. You know, we do weekly shows, Tatiana. I'm always excited about some of the projects that are popping up here and there. And since the big 2017 collapse, 18 collapse of crypto in terms of price in US dollars. We've seen a lot of the nonsense and the bull dust being wiped out, and the good companies standing. So if you are an investor in the space, investing both in companies and cryptos, it's a good time to start looking at solid projects now, because the market has done a lot of the work for you, wiping out some of the crud in this space.
Absolutely.
And so it's definitely a good time to start looking around, start picking good projects, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, Josh, where can everybody connect with you and find out more about the project and 2.0?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to Vaultoro, that's Vault as in Bank Vault, and sorry, not Bank Vault, Gold Vault, of course, VAULT, and Oro, Spanish for gold, ORO, that's Vaultoro.com. And you can go to Bnk To The Future, that's BNK without an A, Bnk To The Future.com, and check out our equity crowd sale there. And there we have a lot of our numbers and all the details of the project in a lot more depth, so you can find out more about us there. But also my Twitter is also @Vaultoro.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. TheTatianaShow.com has all of your latest episodes. Please share them with a friend. Give us a like or some sort of a review, I guess, on iTunes. That would be very nice of you. And if you want to listen to a crypto show that's not quite crypto, proofoflovecast.com, which I co-host with Stephanie Murphy from Let's Talk Bitcoin and Lauren Kasovitz. And we talk about relationships. Sometimes we have crypto stars joining us and giving us, a little feedback about their personal lives. And yeah, thanks. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. We gotta think and reflect and use lots of intellect with our hearts when we work together. I know that it can be so hard out there, looking all around and saying that life ain't fair. So that is why we will fight and stay up late at night, listening to the Tatiana Show. Thank you for listening to The Tatiana Show. Please follow us on Twitter at Queen Tatiana or on Facebook and Instagram at Tatiana Moroz Music. More episodes can be found at thetatianashow.com, and make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. The Tatiana Show has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond.